All right, the watch is for Friday, January 29th, 2016. You can look at the SPY here. It's in a pretty clearly defined range. I'll just use this line to show you. Over the last week, it's for 5 days, it's really been a pretty clearly defined range. What a lot of traders might call a, whoops, didn't mean to do that, might call a total chop fest as far as intraday trading, but we're still finding stuff to trade. So here is the list that I've come up with for Friday. CRM, which is Salesforce.com. Straight down 4 days in a row, starting to get kind of fast, and I've drawn a line here. It has nice bounces back here, got a little bit below 64. Back here it got to 64.16. Remember, support and resistance are areas, not exact numbers. So this gets down near 64. I'm going to be looking for an intraday bounce. ENOC, still a clean pullback. Whoops. It did break its early high today. Whoops, I got after hours on there, so hold on. I'll show you what I generally look for on these bounce plays. Well, that's not fair to say. It put in its early high in like the first 15 or 20 minutes. When I have a stock on watch as a bounce play, just to be, kind of clarify why I watch these for bounces or what I'm looking for, generally, I look for stuff that's had a big, really big relative volume move, and then when it starts to pull back, what I want to see, let's switch to 15-minute candle. So there's the big move. What I want to see is an afternoon break out of a tight range. That's my favorite scenario. It doesn't mean that there aren't other scenarios, but so the day after the big move, you can see it put in its early high right in the opening 15-minute candle. The next day, put in its early high. It did come up, and retrace the whole move, but I wouldn't have taken this high of day break when it had been climbing for like 2 hours straight and broke its early high during lunch. I wouldn't have taken that anyway. So, but you notice, again, you didn't have an afternoon high of day break. Then today, put in its early high, probably about 20-25 minutes in. These are 15-minute candles, and then nothing again. Again, I'd like to see a consolidation and then a breakout in the afternoon. That's the perfect scenario for a trade like this. So that's what I'm looking for, and there are other scenarios, a gap down in a tight range and then a break of its early high and so on. But that's generally what I look for. MEMP. Nice pushback here, and it's been consolidating ever since. You could argue it's been kind of flagging since this mid-December pop. And nice volume today, and you can see that it broke a trend line, right? If you picture a trend line right here, you got a nice pop above that today. So we're looking for a continuation of that tomorrow and probably for the next few days. WDC. Really beaten up stock, and then you had a bounce a couple days ago, 3 days ago, and then it looked like it was rolling back over, but now it's starting to hold up. So this becomes interesting. Back through 46 with some volume. You can kind of see the resistance there. It peaked above it this day. So WDC may finally be ready to bounce. It's pretty beaten up stock, as you can see, right? SPHS just goes on watch. It had, you can see what it did today. Had a big pop. I'll go to the intraday to show it to you. Had news in the middle of the day and had a massive pop on really big volume. Came all the way back down, took out the lows of the day. Then you've got a lower high and then a lower high still. I don't like how much of this pop it gave back, but because of that action, I think it's worth having on watch. CERS, kind of the same thing. Had news and a big pop and then ended up giving a lot of it back. Here's the intraday action. This one never did take out the lows from where it started. But it was certainly pretty choppy and closed kind of weak. So anyway, I want to watch both of those, although I would love, I would have rather that they closed close to their highs, but we'll see, right? FTNT, now this one closed at 26.36, and after hours it's trading at about 28. I think it went as high as 30. So I'm just going to, watch this for a potential gap play set up tomorrow. And then EA, Electronic Arts, after hours, I think they disappointed on guidance. And on after hours, it got down to 62. It's trading at 64.25 right now. But I do like this one. You had some nice consolidation back here around 62. You had a flush down below it on that August, that big, when everything got slammed in August. And nice bounces when it got below 62 here and here. So if we can get down and, gap down tomorrow and then flush below 62, I will be looking for a long for a day trade. All right, so just remember that too. I'm a day trader. I try to find charts that give me a nice trade tomorrow. In addition to that, we'll be looking for news plays as the day unfolds, like the CERS I just showed you, and SPHS. And we'll be looking for morning gappers to trade as well. I'm not even sure how I found this, but I had AMDA. This is just to show you what we look for. I generally look for smaller priced stocks as my gap plays. And I had AMDA on watch this morning in the pre-market. I said, let's watch this one. Let me go to 2-minute candles and show you. Some reason I took it off one of my monitors. I have one monitor that I dedicate specifically for the morning gap plays. It's got 9 charts on it. And there was a lot of stuff to watch this morning. And so when this one, I had it on the list for everybody in the pre-market. When this one did this, I think I went ahead and replaced AMDA, the chart on my gap play monitor, with a different stock that meant more to me, right? Because I thought, okay, this is falling pretty quickly. Obviously, it's not going to go. Well, thank goodness we've got great teamwork in the chat room. And one of our members, Wayne, re-alerted this and said, hey, AMDA is getting close to going red to green and through the high of the day. When I say red to green, by the way, that's through the open and the high of day just above too. So when I saw that Wayne typed that, I jumped on the mic. I also clicked buy myself. I got filled at 205. I said, hey guys, AMDA over the high of the day could work. And thanks to Wayne, I got it. And look what it did. It went all the way, from the 205 call in chat, 205 or 206, all the way to over 340. I point this out to show you that we're pretty good in there at rooting out possible big movers. We also found SGOC this day. That's not an errant tick. I'll show you 15-minute candles. It actually did this, and I actually had this on watch. Got a couple questions in pre-market that day that said, why are you watching? It doesn't have much volume, but it had to do with the news that I heard and the float, so I put it on watch. Having said that, you'd have had to take this right off the opening, the opening minute, and I'm not willing to do that. Didn't give a setup that I like, but still, it basically doubled in 15 minutes, a little bit more than doubled. Again, I didn't get it, but it's an example of the stocks. We're pretty good at rooting out the potential big movers. So whenever you hear me say in these videos, hopefully we'll find some nice gappers tomorrow. That's kind of what I mean. Your SGOCs, your AMDAs, and that sort of thing. And you probably should have AMDA on watch for the next week or so because that's really big volume and a really nice pop. I'd like to see a pullback for a couple days, and then maybe the middle of next week we could trade that one again. But anything can happen. Remember that when trading. So we'll be looking for all possibilities, and we'll be looking for gappers in the morning as well. So have a good night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. No, we won't. We'll talk to you Monday. Have a good weekend.